This is CBN NewsWatch.
It is Thursday, July 23rd. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Ephraim Graham. Ahead today, as the number of coronavirus cases keeps growing, we're going to bring you a look at just how complicated the disease really is. We're going to talk to our medical reporter, Lori Johnson, about how it can affect people. President Donald Trump stepping up his attempts to crack down on crime in American cities, and a confrontation between federal agents and protesters in Portland last night, this time including the mayor. As schools debate reopening, Christian summer camps have faced that concern as well. We're going to show you how some of their unique solutions as they continue their mission to reach young people for Christ. And a major archaeological discovery in Jerusalem from the historic time of the Old Testament kings. All those stories and more ahead in this edition of CBN NewsWatch. I want to begin this half hour with the coronavirus. California is now the leader in COVID cases, surpassing New York, although New York still has far more deaths than any other state. But what exactly are the effects of this virus? The director of the National Institutes of Health, Dr. Francis Collins, called COVID-19 a diabolical virus because it's like nothing we've seen before. After nearly 6 months, health experts have learned what they first thought was only a respiratory disease is actually more complicated than that. We have this update from our medical reporter, Lori Johnson.
New research shows the impact of COVID-19 goes beyond damage to the lungs. Several medical papers document a wide range of non-respiratory problems caused by COVID-19. In some studies, up to 60% of people who've had the virus developed a neurological issue.
Everything from stroke to loss of smell, of course, loss of taste, Guillain-Barré syndrome, which is a reversible paralysis syndrome, to an encephalitis that has been described as well, to various, of course, muscle pains, headaches.
Often these go away, but some, such as stroke effects, can be permanent. Doctors fear there could be other long-term health problems.
So there's a lot of ongoing speculation about whether there will be post-COVID Alzheimer's or post-COVID Parkinsonism or other phenomena we just don't know yet.
Doctors say it's clear COVID often causes blood clotting, which is particularly concerning for young people who might not realize they're having a stroke and wait too long to get help.
And Lori joins us right now for more. So what are doctors doing to combat the clotting issue you're talking about?
Well, Ephraim, when a patient comes in with COVID and tests positive for COVID, a lot of time prophylactically, just as a precaution, they'll give them a low dose of heparin or another blood thinner. But the problem, Ephraim, is so many young people don't have symptoms and they never go to the doctor, and then they start having a stroke. And to complicate matters, they don't know stroke symptoms. A lot of older people do because it's a risk factor for older people and they're more informed. But young people don't know what's happening to them, and they'll wait way too long, sometimes a day after they first start having stroke signs. And by then it is really too late as far as permanent damage is concerned for so many people. You really want to get treatment within 3 hours of having stroke symptoms. And a lot of times they can really fix things up and you won't even know you've had a stroke. So for everyone, particularly young people, be aware of stroke symptoms, face drooping. Now, even if you're at home alone, you can still look in the mirror. If you feel weird, go look in the mirror. If part of your face is drooping, that's a sign. Arm weakness. You should be able to hold both of your arms out like this. If you can't do that and one of your arms falling, that's a stroke sign. And then another big one is difficulty speaking. So again, whether you're with someone or alone, you should be able to say something simple like the alphabet, the Lord's Prayer, the Pledge of Allegiance. Say it out loud. And if you can't do it, call 911.
Indeed. President Trump is resuming his daily coronavirus briefings. What did he say yesterday when it came to nursing homes?
Nursing homes. So this is, again, great because now we're starting to zero in and be strategic about this virus. And as it turns out, Ephraim, we have huge number of nursing home victims. 1% of the United States population is in a nursing home. Almost 50% of the deaths come from nursing homes. I'm going to say that again. 1% of the population in nursing homes, almost half of the deaths in nursing homes. So The government is taking new precautions to monitor nursing homes. If a nursing home, for example, has 3 cases, automatically that gets reported to the state, and there is increased enforcement, PPEs going to the nursing homes, those rapid tests going to the nursing homes, and so forth. But we really need to pray for people in nursing homes because they are so isolated and lonely. It's been almost 6 months, and they haven't been able to have visitors, and they just need that loving touch from family members. So at the very least, we should pray for them and call them if we know someone in a nursing home.
Yeah, I was talking to a friend just yesterday. She was saying how she hadn't seen her mother in 6 months, and I know that's really difficult. Yeah. We've seen a spike in cases, and many are complaining there aren't enough tests. Is that a valid complaint?
It really is. We're seeing now people are waiting days just to get a test. And now when you get a test, sometimes it's a week before you get results. And that's worse than it used to be. And it's because there are so many more people who now need a test, these surges that we've seen in the South and the West. And so this was, it was faster before. But the good news is we are the leader in the world as far as testing is concerned. We've done 50 million tests in the United States, which is way more than other people. The nearest country, I should say, is India, and they're not even close. And as I said, those rapid tests where you get the test results within 5 or 15 minutes, those are on hand in the places that are needed most, nursing homes and hospitals.
Before we let you go, some clarity here. Is it true that children don't transmit the virus as much as adults do?
Right. So this is a huge question because we're thinking about opening schools, and the clock is ticking. And so there's this study out of South Korea that says children under 10 who have the virus don't transmit it very easily. That's great news. But yesterday, Deborah Birx, who's on the coronavirus task force, said that almost sounds too good to be true. We really need to do our own testing about that. But it's good if it is true. It needs to be double checked.
Indeed, indeed. Lori Johnson, thank you so much for your time. Much appreciated.
My pleasure.
I want to turn now to President Trump. He is cracking down on violent crime, announcing a surge in his plan to send federal agents into American cities. This comes after that announcement of another confrontation in Portland last night between federal agents and protesters, including the mayor. CBN's Jenna Browder has this look at the president's action.
President Trump is deploying federal units to Chicago and Albuquerque, the latest surge in his administration's Operation Legend.
In recent weeks, there's been a radical movement to defund, dismantle, and dissolve our police departments.
Trump making the announcement Wednesday at the White House.
We'll work every single day to restore public safety, protect our nation's children, and bring violent perpetrators to justice.
It comes in response to rising crime in cities across America, the president blaming their Democrat leaders. Surveillance video shows this drive-by shooting Tuesday in Chicago. At least 15 people were hurt. This year in the Windy City, more than 400 people have been murdered. That number up nearly 50% from the previous year. The mayor of Chicago says her team will work with the federal agents, but making clear they're not there to fight protesters.
So they're not federal troops. They're FBI, DEA, ATF. And they will be plugged in to the existing infrastructure of those agencies.
In Portland, the administration is facing criticism over federal agents confronting protesters as they protect federal property. The mayor of Portland tear-gassed in a protest Wednesday night. Lightfoot is one of 15 mayors to send a letter to Congress denouncing any effort of this kind.
That's not democracy that we saw unfolding on the streets of Portland as a result of this federal action. That's what we call tyranny and dictatorship, and we are not having it in Chicago.
Meanwhile, it's not just the agents the administration is sending to cities.
This afternoon, I'm also announcing that the Department of Justice will provide more than $61 million in grants to hire hundreds of new police officers in cities that are the focus of Operation Legend.
And while the money may be more welcome than the agents, some mayors still aren't having it. New York Mayor Bill de Blasio says federal agents are not welcome in his city. In Washington, Jenna Browder, CBN News.
Here's a quick look at some of the other stories we're following for you today in the news. A California church is suing Governor Gavin Newsom for banning all indoor worship services, including singing and Bible studies, saying the restrictions violate religious freedom. Harvest Rock Church and Harvest International Ministry filed the lawsuit to try to block enforcement of Newsom's orders. Presumptive Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden told attendees at a Muslim voters summit this week he wishes more would be taught about Islam in our schools. Biden called Islam one of the great confessional faiths. The Muslim voters summit hopes to rally 1 million Muslims to go to the polls in November to defeat President Trump. Civil rights hero Charles Evers has died. He was 97. He was the older brother of civil rights leader Medgar Evers, who was murdered in 1963. Charles Evers led the Mississippi NAACP after his brother was killed. He ran several businesses and was elected mayor of Fayetteville in 1969. He also ran for Congress as a Democrat and served on the Democratic National Committee in the 1970s, but was a friend to Republicans as well. President Trump tweeted a photo with Evers Tuesday saying, "I am deeply saddened by the loss of my friend, Charles Evers." Coming up, morale among police in many cities hitting new lows after budget cuts, attacks, and moves to defund the police. But one group has a project underway to boost morale. We're going to tell you about that when we come back.
Before you marry is a bad idea.
Don't tell me there's no such thing as gun violence.
That just depends on your definition of when life begins.
Watch Dan and Dale tackle trending topics that test your faith on the next Faith Wire, Monday night at 9:30. The Global Lane takes you around the world, providing facts over fiction.
What might rising trade and geopolitical tensions mean for you on the home front?
With over 45 years of experience, award-winning journalist Gary Lane brings you the truth from a global angle.
What about the issue of immigration?
World news analysis you won't see anywhere else.
And it's all right here on the Global Lane.
Watch The Global Lane, Thursday night at 9:30.
Get the top political news and analysis from Washington on Faith Nation, tonight at 6 Eastern, only on the CBN News Channel.
With police under attack in parts of the country and growing calls to defund their departments, one union official says officer morale is in the toilet. Prager University is hoping its Back the Blue campaign will give that a boost. Will Witt works for the school and says the message of gratitude and appreciation for law enforcement officers comes at a time when they need it most.
What happened when you kicked off this campaign in Denver? I know conservative pundit Michelle Malkin and others were attacked. Tell us about that.
I can't say for sure exactly what happened to Michelle Malkin and her being attacked, but I know that all over the country, people who are saying that they are defending the police are being attacked for their views. They're being attacked online as well.
Go back to the other side. You touch her first. You get off of her. You touch her first. Get off. Stay back. Go away. Don't touch. Get off. Get off. Get off. Get off.
So it's a very serious thing. The issue has gotten incredibly polarized, but we at PragerU, I mean, definitely believe that, despite the politicization of defunding the police, we want to stand up for what we believe in every single time.
What was the response from Denver police? After all, the rally was there to show support for them.
Yeah, well, we've seen this in a lot of things. Also with, the rioting for Black Lives Matter, we saw some of the police going and kneeling with some of the protesters instead of actually, stopping the protesters. So there are things that are happening that aren't always the best, but we support the police and whatever they do. I did a video where I went to a college campus and a student actually called the cops on me for apparently my ideas were threatening him and they were fear-mongering, but the student was shut down basically by the police who said this is a First Amendment issue. And this other person, being me, was able to come to this campus and speak his mind and say his ideas. That's how all police officers should uphold the Constitution, uphold the First Amendment. We need to have that in our country. That's why America is the greatest country, because we have a First Amendment like we do.
I know we've seen efforts on college campuses to silence speech that leftists don't like, but now it seems this is going beyond the campuses into the public streets. So what should be done about it?
Things are getting worse. It's getting more polarized than ever. I think people are starting to as well mistrust the media a lot more. So a lot of opinions are flying out very passionately. But I don't think that things are going to start getting better until conservatives themselves actually stand up. The left it's so easy for them to stand up and say what they believe. It's the popular viewpoint to have in America today, to be a leftist. Look at Hollywood, look at the mainstream media. So it's very important that conservatives actually stand up for what they believe in so that we can fight back against them trying to silence us.
Defunding police, overrunning and burning police stations, disrespect for police. I know statistics show only 1,000 fatal police shootings, people of all races, out of more than 60 million annual encounters with police. So what is this really about?
Well, they say it's about defunding the police, but in reality, it's a Marxist agenda. You can go to the Black Lives Matter website and you can see clearly on it that they say they want to disband the Western nuclear family. This is not about George Floyd anymore. This is not about police brutality. It is about power for these people, and it's about instituting their leftist agenda.
And the Back the Blue campaign, what kind of feedback are you getting from police officers and from those who peacefully attend?
The campaign has done incredibly well so far. We've been able to reach a lot of people, and the main goal, again, of the campaign is to show police officers that we support them. And we've gotten many messages from police officers thanking us for what we're doing, thanking us for actually standing up when they've gotten so much backlash from the mainstream media and all these protesters and people. So it's been incredibly successful, and we're very happy to be the ones to start this movement. I hope that people start to wake up to the actual facts about what's going on with the police. I mean, part of our campaign isn't just showing love and support for the police, but it's also a factual campaign where we're putting out the real numbers, the real data on how the police are treating people in this country. So with the amount of people who are sharing our posts, the amount of influencers and notable people and just, millions of hardworking Americans across the country, we're hoping that these facts get out to people who wouldn't have heard them before and are actually having their minds changed on the issue. And I think it's working.
Okay, encouraging Americans to stand up for law enforcement and show appreciation to those, the vast majority of which actually protect us. Will Witt, PragerU's Man on the Street, thank you for your time, Will.
Thank you.
For more on this and other trends in the news, be sure to check out the Global Lane. You can find it this evening at 9:30 Eastern on the CBN News Channel. Still ahead, with the debate over reopening schools underway, Christian summer camps have also dealt with how to open this year, and many of them are finding unique ways to carry out that mission. We're going to bring you a look at what they're doing to bring young lives to faith, and all that in that story coming up next.
On the home front.
Thanks for joining us for CBN's On the Home Front, where we highlight what the men and women of America's military do to defend our country. CBN honors the men and women in our military with an initiative called Helping the Home Front. It partners with churches across the country to meet the needs of their military families, from repairing homes to wiping out medical bills for wounded veterans.
On the Home Front, Tuesday morning at 10:30.
If you want to be an attorney with a passion for serving people and for excellence, Regent University needs to be high on your list.
Regent's award-winning law school doesn't just create lawyers. We create leaders, judges, prosecutors and defense lawyers, civil litigators, and leaders in government.
My focus has been trying to really make sure we have the future leaders we need for the bench and the bar and for society generally.
You'll learn from highly credentialed leaders who are current and former judges, distinguished scholars, and ACLJ counsel.
I'm so glad I chose Regent. The relationships here have been amazing. The faculty have been amazing. Not everybody's called to the same thing when they leave law school, but they're called by a God who has a purpose for their lives, and He is going to use that education to make a difference in the world.
Regent will prepare you to be a purpose-driven, practice-ready lawyer. To start your rewarding law career, complete the online application, submit your transcripts, and take the law school admissions test by July. Apply today.
Schools across the country are working to find ways to reopen in the fall. Hundreds of Christian summer camps, though, are facing that difficulty right now. As Heather Sells reports, these ministries are finding unique solutions to continue their mission to lead a new generation to Christ.
This is what the leaders of Wisconsin's Honey Rock Camp were hoping to see this summer. Lots of kids together, worshiping, trying new activities, and enjoying the beautiful outdoors. Then COVID-19 changed everything.
Initially, we decided to cut the first half of our summer and delay the arrival of staff.
Camp director Rob Ribby says they surveyed parents and found they wanted camp to open. So Honey Rock put together a plan and is opening for 4 weeks.
Our heart is to try and make sure that the Honey Rock experience in kind of its essence is still there, but we've had to make face coverings part of the program. We've created cleaning kind of stations at every activity area. So after you go canoeing and use a canoe paddle and a life jacket, you have to clean it off.
Honey Rock has also asked campers and their families to isolate for 14 days before camp. The risks are clear. Safety precautions failed at one large Missouri camp, leading to 82 cases, according to state health leaders. But some camps have decided to cancel programming. Camp Hope Haven in Virginia Beach made that difficult decision this summer, and that has meant no camp for more than 700 kids.
Week by week, we were all watching the notices and how the virus was spreading. It just led to the same result. We can't do this effectively, and if we do it and we do it poorly, that's what will be remembered, not the fact that we tried to accommodate this unique situation.
The Christian Camp and Conference Association has 872 members. Less than half have canceled summer sessions. Instead, they're working with local health officials to create new policies for keeping kids safe.
We're praying for God's mercy and blessing and wisdom as camps operate, that they'll do the right things to mitigate or minimize the risks that are there.
Some camps have moved to virtual activities that kids and parents can enjoy at home. The Christian Camp Association president, Greg Hunter, says the good news is that Christian camping was strong before COVID. In 2019, camps saw high attendance and healthy budgets. He predicts parents and kids will be eager to return when camps are fully back in operation.
I expect a spike. When COVID is gone, I expect a spike in attendance for camp all across the country and probably around the world.
For now, many are hoping for a summer of transformation, spurred by desperate times, combined with kids, parents, and staffers willing to face a multitude of precautions because they appreciate the value of camp. Heather Sells, CBN News.
Coming up, a major new archaeological find in Israel from the days of the Old Testament kings. We're going to have that story for you right after this.
Region's first ROTC graduate student.
Meet the pastors who are preaching the gospel in a fresh, fearless way. I'm Roberto Torres-Cedillo. Join me each week for Next Gen Voices. And watch God transform a generation.
How'd you like to get a redo on your health, on your body, on your arteries, so you could have the energy you had 20 years ago? The great news is you can. I'm Dr. Mike Roizen, chair of the Wellness Institute at the Cleveland Clinic. I've written 4 New York Times bestsellers. But even better than having to read all that, you can listen to this DVD and watch it. Protect your heart? Yes, you can. Here's how.
Go to CBN.com or call 1-800-700-7000 for your free copy of Protect Your Heart. Let the medical experts show you their new discoveries on how to avoid heart disease and even reverse it. Easy steps to uncover the hidden dangers in your medicine cabinet, reduce stress, and get a complete do-over for your health. Call 1-800-700-7000. That's 1-800-700-7000. Or go to CBN.com to claim your free copy of Protect Your Heart.
Young people, millennials, are flocking to church.
It's not an exaggeration to say that we love to meet them and that we love to know their stories.
Check out the CBN News Daily Rundown podcast each weekday with me, Caitlin Burke. Click on the show tab at cbnnews.com where you can listen and subscribe.
Archeologists have unearthed a major discovery in Jerusalem. It's a huge structure made of stone walls dating back about 2,700 years from the time of King Hezekiah and his son Manasseh. The building was believed to have been used for government activities. Researchers discovered 120 jar handles with seal impressions in ancient Hebrew. Many of them had LMLK on them, which means belonging to the king. Other handles have the names of senior officials and other important men on them. The excavation was conducted by the Israeli Antiquities Authority. Archaeologists say it is the most important collection of seals to be found in Israel in recent years. It is time now for your Thursday Thankful, and today I hope you will join me in this prayer of gratitude. Father, I thank you for making me a masterpiece. Help me to see me as you see me. I want to be a man after your own heart. With that prayer, I encourage you to make today a thankful Thursday, and may this day be filled with gratitude. That is going to do it for this edition of CBN Newswatch. I want to remind you, you can always find more of our programs on the CBN News Channel. You can find them there at any time. You can also find them online at cbnnews.com. We would love to know what you think about the stories you've seen here today. You can email us at the address right there on your screen, newswatch@cbn.com. And of course, you can always reach out and touch us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hope you'll join us again right here next time. Goodbye, everybody, and God bless.